Hello everyone, welcome back to Mentoring channel. In today's tutorial, we're going to build a complete full-stack bank application using Spring Boot 3, Angular 16, Docker, and MySQL database. We cover everything from setup or development environment to implement your core functionality like account management, transactions, and user onboarding. Let me show you a quick demo of the application we are going to build. We have our login and we can log in with a sixth user we have here. Let's log in. And in this home page, we have uh, a good message called Good afternoon, Steve. This is the time the user last login and also the time and the day. We have a card with the information about all the account this user have registered in the system. For example, we have the account ID, the account type, and the balance, the current balance the user have. Also, the day this account was created, and we have the total balance of this account, and we can make some quick action like transfer to another account. Like I want to transfer uh $500 to Pedro, and we require to check this checkbox because it's a deposit ACH. Sometimes, when in your bank or in your bank app, you have to transfer to another account, or you need to specify it's a fee transaction or an instant transaction, and click or pay extra money for a transaction more quicker. But ACH transaction is the common transaction that take a time to be refreshed in your balance or the account of the user. And with transfer, we have a loading. Uh, and when the transaction is successfully, we close this modal. And of course, this transaction was being reflected in the account of the Pedro. Or also, we can add a new beneficiary with the account ID and the email of the beneficiary. Um, Let me log in the account of Pedro to see is all correctly um, send the balance or this. Let me go to Pedro, Pedro Juan. Let me see here. This is not a password. Let me check with this. Okay, and in here we have the amount. Okay, but if I want to transfer to Steve, um, well, 100. And let me show the transfer is loading. Let me check all is good in the backend. In the network, let me show. Oh yeah, all is good and no errors. Perfect. All is good now. Um, this is done. For the moment, it's not reflected because we have in the backend. If I show you the backend now, we have a job, and this job take a time to reflect. Oh my God, let me share here. This is the transaction, but we have here uh, transaction service in our folder or transaction processing. We have a job that run every uh, 45 seconds and it's taking time to be reflected in our account. And for example, if I want to register a new user, I specify the name, I fill the name, the ID. For example, if you see if I don't put here the correct digit, like 9 digits or 9 character, we have a validation here, and the correct code in the type of account, and the email, hello, gmail.com. But I want this micro01, yeah. And the password is here and here. And for example, when you have a bank application and you try to register or open account, you need to authenticate your account or activate your account. We cover all this in this full bank application. For example, we have we need to verify our account, and we have a server and with the token of the activation code, and we need to copy and click this activation code. Account is successfully activate, and we can log in on the application because this account is successfully active. If I log in here and I put the password, let me try to log in. I try to log in. Let me try to log in. Have some space here. Let me try to log in here. Perfect. And we are logging with Michael. But now Michael have a zero balance, and we need to transfer some money to Michael. So let's try to transfer or register a Michael to as a new beneficiary for a person. Yeah. Let's log out. Mike. Okay, let's enter with Steve, and let's tr- let's add a new beneficiary. The account is here, the account of Michael, and the email is Michael. Sorry, it's Michael1@gmail.com. Hmm, let me see. Uh, mhm. Beneficiary added successfully. The Michael is already registered, so now we can transfer to Michael. Let's transfer $10,000. Oh, Michael is reflected here. Required deposit. Let's see, is all okay with all, and transfer is loading. And transfer successfully. Our network is okay. Let's see if this is reflected to Michael. Let's check. Log out. Um, yeah, Michael. And we need to copy here. And of course, we have our transaction available here, the $10,000 that was sent us by from Steve. And this is the quick demo of the application with the different functionality. And in future release, we are going working with create pay services like electricians, tax, recharge, and all this common stuff. But now it's time to pass to another thing, important thing we need to know. For example, prerequisites. We need to have some prerequisite config in our local machine. We need for this course is a beginner or intermediate course, and we need to have Java 17 JDK installed in our machine. So you need to download this JDK. Also, now you need to download now. That is for Angular because in Angular we have now npm, and we need to download now to have our npm management. But how I can download? You can going out to know.org and download the last version and follow the step. And for example, one more we need a ID or your prefer. For example, in my case, I use Intel IDEA Ultimate or Community. Ultimate is because I pay Alliance. I like it, but you also have an option like use Intel IDEA Community. Is free, it's open source, or you can use Eclipse, NetBeans, or Visual Studio Code also is no problem. And we need also install Postman to testing our API. And in the database, we need to install MySQL database and MySQL Workbench to have our database here. And MySQL Workbench is the UI or the Git UI to see all the tables and make query here. Okay, but let's continue with the with the brief history advantage of using Spring Boot framework. And Spring Boot is an extension of Spring framework that simplify the development of Java application and provide different tools to create production grade application with a minimum configuration. This is the advantage of using Spring Boot, and we can implement web application, reactive processing, and the common use is microservice because we have a lot of configuration. Native and implemented by Spring framework, and we can implement with Spring Boot. And let me show you a quick, for example, um, demonstration here. We have our web application. Let me show you here. We have our Spring Boot application. Every Spring Boot project have a pawn. And what is a pawn? A pawn is a file, a SML file, uh, where you have all your dependencies to have in your project. With all these dependencies, you can build your project and save a lot of time and don't build the wheel again. Just download the correct dependencies from Maven Central, and you have all these jar and interface from one dependencies. And for example, let's try to understand our project and what is the workflow of our project. For example, we have our client. Yeah. The client are a user who interact with the web application. They send requests to the web application to perform various operations like view data, submit form. Uh, that is I show you in this bank. For example, I'm a user, and as a user, I need to see my data here and submit requests or forms, and with this flow behind scenes have a processing, and this processing is sent in JSON format. And what is a JSON? The meaning of JSON is JavaScript object notation, and it's a common use in web application systems. It is a lightweight data interchange format that is easy for human to read and write in ISA to machines parts and generate. That is why we use JSON. And for example, we have a REST API. And what is a REST API? For example, the meaning of this REST API is Representational State Transfer Application Programming Interface. Wow, a lot of words. Yeah. Um, this is intermediate between the web application and the backend server. Is define a set of rules and convention. For example, how client can communicate with the server, and the REST API use HTTP methods like get, pod, put, delete, and other. We have a lot of. And the meaning of get is for read, pods to create, put to update, and delete, of course, to delete operation. In common meanings, for example, we have get to retrieve data from the server, pause to send data to the server to create new resources, put to update existing resources on the server, and delete to delete some resources. And why we use MySQL database? Because it's a friendly database to beginners and also intermediate. It's a relational database. Uh, and we can easily set up and configure in our project with Spring Boot. And okay, we have of course some interrogation here, and the common way how is all work together. For example, what is the way of this working together, or these standards and JSON and web app and client and MySQL and REST API? What is the common use of working with all that? Okay, I can explain you for you. It's easy. For example, we have the client. The client are the user who interact with the application using different devices like monitor, mobile, tablets, and another mobile devices. And they access to the application to a web interface, like we use here in the bank. And um, they sending a request and receive response. They sending requests in a JSON format, and we handle all these requests and send back a response. And for example, we have here um, a common use. For example, we use DTO. And what is this a DTO? Well, the DTO is a pattern, is a data transfer object, and with a DTO we can carry the data between processes and use to transfer data from the client to the server and vice versa. And they help encapsulate the data and provide a way to validate the structural information exchange between layers. With a DTO, in simple word, we transfer all the information we needed to show in our web application. For example, critical or not valid information like password without being marks. We don't need to send in our DTO because that is complex a complex data that can be exposed to the user, and we need to save this data in our database. With DTO, we can help in that process. And for example, we have, of course, some Spring Boot three-layer architect. This is the architect we are going to implement in our project. We have the presentation layer, and here we have the different refers to the controllers. Uh, Also, we have all the incoming requests from the client, and we process and return the appropriate response. And this layer manages the web application and user interface to communicate to the logic. And what is the responsibility of this layer? Is receive HTTP requests from the client, convert this request into a service layer, process the response and send back to the client, and utilize or use the DTO to structure the data exchange between the different client and server. And we have the service layer. And what is the meaning of this? Okay, this contains the business logic of the application and act as an intermediary between the presentation layer and the DAO layer or the data access object. This layer ensures that the application business rules and processes are correctly implementing. And the responsibility of this layer is process data received from the presentation layer and contain the core functionality of the application, apply business rules, and of course call the DAO layer to retrieve or persist the data from the database. And we go into the DAO layer, and the DAO layer is responsible for the interaction with the database. And common name of the DAO layer is repository. And we in this data layer is encapsulate the logic required to access the data source and perform the crew operation. And what is the crew operation? It's a common create, read, update, delete operation. And the responsibility of this DAO layer is interact with the database to perform crew operation, convert data from the database format to application object, and vice versa. And yeah, this is the common use of all this way. Here we have some common cheat, cheats or information, important information you can uh, take a screenshot. Or I'm going to send you this diagram and all this information because it's so important to know to have knowledge of this. And here we have other important information, but I'm going to send you this all information for you. Okay, let's go ahead with the diagram of the server. We have our application, Angular application is the client, and all the component are in Bootstrap for Awesome. And we have a user event. The user event is like when I try to make a login, I send uh, my credential and the application stack or the service. This service have an interceptor to send the payload to via HTTP method. And we have in our server some filter because we use Spring Security, and we have a custom filter to allow some UR to be allowed to make a request to our server. And when it's okay here in the filter, we respond with successfully a login, and in the interceptor is say in the local storage the JWT token, and we can validate. That is the happy path. But we have a complete workflow here. And of course, when we try to register a user, we follow all these steps. Um, let's try to understand this in when we coding our application, and that's in the next session. Okay.